Hey Libra, it's Empress Rose here. Welcome to your reading. These are general readings. We take what works and we leave what doesn't, as with everything in life. And if I don't catch your wavelength here, check your other major placements. Also, I'm posting photos of the spread at the end of the video, so if you want to read along or check my work, you're welcome to do so. All right, we're starting off, of course, with our intuitive vibe from the Oracle Mystical Moments for Libra. What's Libra got ahead of her or him? What's Libra got? Oracle. Anything else for Libra? It's a lot. All right. I think we have some repeats from last week, and look at that. Whoa. Okay. So we have this Night Ride card. So this is going through a very difficult, swampy, sort of foggy area at night. It's dark, it's foggy. There's no road. It's just we're walking through just a mass of mud. And we've got a little bit of teamwork going on here, and we're protected as we go through this difficult journey where we can't quite see where we're going. It's not very clear what's going on here. But we're making our way bit by bit. We've got this elephant trudging through this mud with us. And we might be these guys. You might be the one trudging forward and protecting these guys, or you might be, you know, the one protecting the other, but also getting some help. So there's some movement forward and sort of some help and some assistance, spiritual or physical. As you go, everyone's bringing their gifts. We have far-reaching vision here, very clear night vision, and we have like a good memory and strength down here. And these things are working together to help us get through a confusing, difficult time. We also have Can You Hear Me?, which is about difficult communication, not feeling heard, not feeling like you're getting through to somebody, wanting to say something, wanting to be, I want to say part of somebody's life, or you want to be part of something, and if you just don't feel heard. And communication, of course, is a two-way street. So I'm actually going to talk about both of these cards together. Look, they're both looking to the future, and she wants to go. She's dreaming of going somewhere. Her heart wants to go, but she's also holding back. She's not, it's maybe the timing's not right, but she's very worried about where this is going and what's happening here. But something in her intuition is telling her it's not time to go, even though she's concerned and worried about it. She's got a message from the heart. Her heart has some things it wants to say. She wants to send it forward. She wants to send it out into the world, but she's just not yet ready. She's holding back a little bit. And there's something intuitive about your holding back. And then with this one, this is again like holding back a little bit, wanting to say something, maybe having tried to communicate and not feeling like it was heard. Who knows, maybe they did hear all the way across this sort of swampy land, but it's an emotional communication, and maybe they're on the other side of the swamp and they're going through something really hard and difficult, and they can hear you, but they can't answer yet. So that could be what's going on, but this is just about difficult, exhausting communication. There's a sense of hopelessness in both of these cards. Am I being heard? Can anybody hear me? Can the person I'm trying to communicate with, are they hearing me? And this is like wanting to communicate but not. And in both of these, and maybe not, you don't want to keep communicating, or you don't want to say this because you're not even sure it's getting to where it needs to go. These are deep emotional communications about the future of something and something like that. And there's a lot of longing in both of these cards. There's so much longing for this future that you see, that you want. And here, oh my gosh, this is reminding me of a different card, but this is the emotions, this is the feelings, and this is the ideas about it. And so there's a lot of feelings and ideas that are not being communicated, but it also reminds me of the Mermaid card the Mermaid's Love card, where we have like a mermaid type figure, very connected to emotions, to feeling. And then we have the other figure. So this could actually, I was thinking these were two of the same people, but what if they're talking to each other, wanting, and this one wants to go to that future and this one wants to go to that future, but there's something, the worlds are too different. This one's in the sky, in the air, in the ideas, in the thoughts, and this one's in the heart. And maybe your mind and your heart are having a difficult time communicating with each other. Maybe there's some differences, and your heart's like, hey mind, can't you hear me up there? I'm trying to tell you what I want. And your mind's like, you know what, heart, you gotta listen to me here. I know, I hear you, you've got these things to say. Well, then the mind is saying, I hear you, which is not, but the heart doesn't feel like the mind hears it. Anyway, so we got a couple scenarios. This could be two different people from two different worlds, unable to communicate with each other, but both wanting the same thing, but unable to figure out how to get there together and how to bridge this gap between these two worlds. Because this one's way up high, very, very lofty, and this one's like half submerged, right? So they're in two different worlds. Or this could be, you know, your heart and your mind trying to communicate, or this could be you, like, trying to communicate. Yeah, but I see you trying to communicate with someone else, and yeah, you could just be both wanting, I see you both seeing the same future, both wanting the same thing, but just not being able to connect about it and how to communicate that, and it's starting to feel a little hopeless and heavy. So again, more with communication, and Libra is already a very communication oriented card, or oriented sign. I mean, we're already talking about communication here. And we have more communication. This is listening, deep, deep listening, listening to what's behind everything, what's behind what's not being said, because there's a lot here that's not being said. And it's really hard, though, to hear what's not being said, because a lot of that seems to be in our imagination. So some caution with listening to what's not being said. Don't make up what somebody's saying, what's behind. But this is just like when somebody's angry, listen to the hurt that's behind that anger and the vulnerability that's behind the anger, that kind of thing. But this is also for the purpose of resurrection and coming back to life and growing again and moving forward again. Like, she's not going to be down here forever because she's not dead. This is just this is almost like a break. Maybe you're taking a break from communicating with somebody right now, and just resting, just letting it rest for a while you listen to your own intuition and you listen to what's beneath it all, and you return, sort of, you get more grounded. And because neither of these are grounded at all. And now here we have this earthy card here, of getting grounded and getting solid. And this is for the purpose of coming back up. She's not staying down there forever, but she's going in for a little bit of a deep dive here underneath it all. What's behind the scenes here? Going behind the scenes in life and trying to listen to what's going on and listening. I mean, maybe that's what just needs to happen here, is both of these people are tired and trying to communicate. And then we get I love it. We have, can you hear me? Listen. So you need to do some listening and there's just 3 cards. Well, this is supposed to be about dreaming, but it's also about communicating. So we have 3 cards about communication. Listen, can you hear me? And then this wanting to communicate, but instead still in a dreaming idea stage, still in the idea stage of something. Or maybe that's what this person doesn't get, is like that this other person is thinking about something and they don't really understand why they're not responding because they're thinking. I mean, that often happens. I leave people unread all the time, but it's because I'm thinking about what I want to say. And so now I've learned to do like the little cloud with the ... Like, let me think about it. Let me think about it for a couple days. If I don't get back to you in a couple days, though, the key is to harass me again. No, don't harass me again. But it's really hard to tell if I don't want to communicate or if I just forgot. So you should check in with me if I didn't get back to you. Always check back in with me, because I maybe wandered off thinking, oh, let me think about it. And then people get pissed off, and which I love, because it's like, oh, so your fuse was exactly 4 hours short. Okay, your fuse was 2 days, but still it was quite a fuse. You blew up at me not getting back at you. So, I mean, it's very informative. I don't do it on purpose, but when someone blows up about it, it's like, oh, that's what I do. Lots of information. So then we have all is connected, which is another communication card. For me, it is. I don't know if everyone who has this deck thinks that all is connected, but this is my Anansi card, my storyteller card, where you tweak the story just a little bit and the whole meaning changes, the whole fabric. So Anansi's the storytelling spider, right? And we have spiders in here, so that's how that connects to me, and how I connect with this card as a storyteller. And here she's just pulling one little thread, and it pulls on all of reality, the whole fabric of reality. And so it's that idea of the dropping the pebble and the ripples going out, and it changes everything. You just pull one thing. And so it could be the story you're telling yourself about this whole situation, or what you're trying to communicate. Just tweak one little thing on it about what you're trying to communicate, and things will go much easier. It'll be easier for the other person to hear you. It'll be easier for you to hear the other person. There's just like a little tweak, and all is connected. So, so you don't have to do very much. Maybe she's using this wrong, right? And she needs to just like purse her lips a little different way or something like that, you know, metaphorically or literally, who knows? All right, Libra, this is your past, your present, your inner landscape. What's at issue? Your environment, your to-do list, and your possible outcome. I don't see a... This is very funny to me. We'll get there. But in your recent past, we have this 10 of Wands. We have this burden that's not yours. This is the not my circus, not my monkeys card. I think this has been a popular card lately, but this is putting down a burden that was never yours to carry. Expectations that were put on you. You didn't even notice probably. And then you're like, wait a minute, why am I doing this? What was I supposed to do here? Why did I didn't remember agreeing to this, agreeing to these expectations. So you've just recently put down a burden that was never yours to carry. It was never yours to, it was never your burden. It was other people's expectations, other people's ideas of what should happen and how this should all go. And it wasn't yours. And you didn't even notice probably that you were carrying it. You didn't even realize that you were carrying it for a long time until you put it down. And you put it down, and now, so you freed yourself from some sort of burden, some sort of difficulty that you almost didn't even realize you were carrying until it got too heavy. And you were like, man, this pack is heavy. Every footstep, this backpack is heavier and heavier and heavier. And then you're like, wait a minute, am I just really a weakling all of a sudden? Or wait, people have been making me carry their sleeping bags. What? How come people were piling their sleeping bags on me? Well, sleeping bags are pretty light, but they're water jugs. People have been attaching their water jugs to my backpack this whole hike, and I'm not really a weakling. You're actually quite strong. You just were carrying burdens that weren't yours, and you didn't necessarily agree to. Maybe you like agreed to it, but you didn't quite understand. But usually this is just because it's on your back. You haven't been watching or aware of the burden. You just were carrying it. And then in your present situation, we have the 8 of Wands, the communication card. This is lots of communication. This is actually the check your email. This is what I get. This is what I personally get when I left somebody on red for too long and didn't realize it, and I need to go back. Or there's some sort of email in your inbox. There's something, some sort of communication. This could be about missed communication. This could be like double check that plane ticket, double check. I've gotten this card when I read my plane ticket wrong and then I missed my flight because I didn't believe it. So it's that kind of like double check your communication. There's some sort of communication issue where people aren't getting clear. People aren't clear with each other what's going on. And I just can't even believe how many communication cards we have now. This is our 5th communication card going on in this reading, and we've only had 7 cards, and 5 of them are about communication, miscommunication, lots of communication, needing to communicate. Something needs to be communicated. So you could be in a situation where lots of communications are coming in, lots of communication. All right, in your inner landscape, you've got this far-reaching vision, intuition that something's coming in. And this is what maybe you're hoping that you're having, that your intuition is accurate and it's not just wishful thinking, because sometimes those things can be so difficult to suss out what it is. So, but you're looking to the far horizon and you're waiting, you're wondering, you're like out here half clothed, looking hot, out on your little like precipice here, like, I know this has got to be coming in anytime soon. This has got to be coming in. So you're hopeful that maybe you're hopeful that somebody's going to finally like communicate with you and talk to you. And are you going to listen? Bet you got this listening reminder. Listen, Missy, right? So you're looking to you're hoping, you're hoping, you're listening to your intuition, and you really are so, you might be confident, you might, or so intuiting something that you're waiting and anticipating for something to happen, but you have no evidence that it's going to happen. You're just hopeful. Look at these wands. Wands are intuition, creativity, and sexuality. So we have this 10 of Wands about burdens that weren't yours. I'm gonna have to think about how that relates to the whole suit of Wands. 8 of Wands, communication coming in, and 3 of Wands, intuition is strong and coming in. And then what's at issue here? We have this Temperance. We have these two extremes, these two different things. This is the, in the upright, this is my bartender card. She's a really good bartender. She's mixing her bitters and her simple syrups together, and it's actually really exciting, and everybody at the bar loves to watch her work. And she's not just juggling, like we've got the 2 of Pentacles for the juggling. You got to juggle these things and keep these balls in the air. She's like bringing things together, not in balance, but mixing them. So this is like maybe, you know, especially with the new relationships, we can have some fear with some excitement, and then we kind of bring them in together of like, okay, get a little more stable here. You know, we don't need the fear, the excitement's too intense. We gotta like mix them together a little bit, temper them out a little bit. So Temperance, she's tempered, but these things aren't getting tempered. These things aren't getting mixed up. They're not coming together. There might be 2 people with their heels dug in over here, which is what we're getting. We're getting a lot of heels dug in, no one's listening, no one's talking, no one's moving forward. Heels dug in here. And so we're not getting the opportunity to mix this up and to bring these 2 different forces together. That's not happening. They're not starting to mix. They're still got their heels dug in over here. Looks like there's just like a little tweak that needs to happen, and hopefully we can discover that. Here we have the 9 of Cups in your environment. Something in your environment is very emotionally fulfilling. You've won something, you feel very emotionally fulfilled with something in your environment. It's not this situation, but it's another situation. It's our secondary story weaving through the sitcom, making the pacing good. You know, you have your main story arc, and then you have like the B story that goes through and kind of maybe punctuates. Maybe this is the funnier story. Anyway, so this is your B story possibly, or it could be part of this whole thing, but this is emotional fulfillment. There's some sort of emotional fulfillment going on in your life, these trophies of emotional fulfillment. In your to-do list, what you need to do is the Hierophant. So this is religious leadership. This is leadership, just the general concept of leadership. And this can be spiritual leadership. Relationship leadership is what I'm getting right now, but this can be institution, but I don't see this in this card as institution, institutional leadership or institutional religion or any religious institute. This is like, oh man, someone just told me what those crossed fingers mean, and I forgot, or maybe just read the title or something of the email, or I don't know. I can't remember where it was. See, this is, I gotta check my things. I gotta check my things, my communication. Something's come in. So this is like religious leadership. This is a deep connection to spirit, to divine. This is wisdom. And a deep connection to spirituality, to spiritual practice, and to healing. He's in this ring of roses, which I like. And this deep spiritual connection, spiritual mastery. Is he listening? Look at their faces. Are they listening? And then we have the Hanged Man. This is a possible outcome. Is doing the work to release yourself from something. It could be some sort of, could be the relationship altogether or the situation altogether where you're not being heard and just like, whatever, I'm not being heard. I've done everything I can here. Releasing yourself or just untying some sort of knot and letting yourself go. So this isn't what we end up with where we're possibly going this week or for our future. Is not movement. There's no movement. There's no, this is an untying of a knot though. This is the opposite of tying a knot. This is the untying of a knot and getting free of some sort of stagnant situation. And that work is a lot of stillness and a lot of listening. And I love how this is all connected, how she pulls on one thread, and it's like undoing this knot. You just got to find the weak link, the situation, and pull on that, and then you can undo the stagnant energy and this hanging out energy and get some freedom and some movement in the situation. Because we have this communication breakdown, we have heels being dug in, and this could be almost seen as communication between these two separate factions and coming to some sort of agreement, win-win agreement in the center that everybody actually likes more than where they're at. But these things aren't coming together, aren't communicating with each other, aren't blending. And, you know, between people, that would be communicating back and forth, and aren't blending. And so there needs to be this deep listening and then a little tweak for the purpose of eventually loosening up a situation. But this night ride here, difficult situation, plotting. It's a very slow moving energy because we're going through, you know, this mucky mud and this fog, and you can't charge through. I don't know if you've ever driven fast through fog, but you haven't done it for very long before you hit a telephone pole or something. Like you got to go slow through fog when you can't see what's ahead, and you certainly haven't driven very fast through thick mud swamp because you've gotten stuck. So and nobody's driving. You gotta have a boat or an elephant to get through that stuff. So anyway, there's no fast moving energy. There's no simple solution here. The best it can say is just this deep listening, and then from that you're going to be and deep connecting to your spirituality somehow, and listening to what's behind everything, which to me is like very part of my spiritual practice, is this deep listening, not to the heart, to the channel, to the information that I get from the divine, and that sort of meditative space. This is a very meditative space here that she's in, and listening to your heart and your intuition, because you've got some intuition coming in here. But where do we end up by the end of the week, or wherever, for whatever time period this is for? Not moving, but moving internally towards a movement. Eventual movement. All right, Libra, I hope that was helpful for you and not too circuitous and confusing. I sure do like your comments and your likes and subscribes, of course. I do like to interact with you guys a lot on Twitter and YouTube. I enjoy it. It's very fun, and it makes my little quarantine here a lot more interesting to connect with you guys. Okay, so I hope you have a great week.